Okay. Okay. I think we're good to go here. Except I hear the feedback loop. Let's get rid of the feedback loop, shall we? Except and oh, I forgot. When I open the window, we have all sorts of noise on the wind. Let's try that. Do this again. Okay. Clear rigs. This is off. SWA check-ins, 00. Oh man, I've got so much stuff on the screen. I don't see what I'm doing here. All right. You can see the wind in the background, kind of, sorta. The downdraft from the supposed hurricane left about an hour ago, so we've got the antennas reconnected. We've got off the roof and got everything else set back up here, and I think we are good to go. So I know JT, you were having weather out there. We were having weather on the West Coast. So give me a moment here, and we will get set up. Oh, now I hear a skip. All right. Let me get all of this. All right, let's see if this actually works.
OTR 27.085 megahertz. The O2 Radio Network.
All right, the old Tube Radio Network. I think we are on. I'm configured back down to one giant screen again, so I have to check multiple things to see if we are on. One of the things I have to check is to make sure that we have power and that we are not in the midst of some downdraft wind, lightning, and thunder thing like we had an hour or so ago. The old Tube Radio Network on the verges of, you know, when the left coast has a storm, we really don't know how to do it. So we've got some type of vestiges of a Mexican hurricane, I guess we'll call it that, coming up through California. We're in Central California, so we're right around the edges, but as you can see, it's coming in a bit earlier. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. We are getting a little bit of rain and all of that. So that's where I was, making sure that everything was good. And oh, thank you. The crew is so good here. They even managed to put the pocket protector on in the rain garb here, so good deal. We will do the old Tube Radio Network tonight as much as we can. If I have to disconnect at any point with the radios, maybe we can keep the streaming up and we'll see what happens. I have no idea how many people are actually out on the air tonight who've reconnected their antennas and are wanting to sit next to a device connected to something outside. We will see. But we are here. 27085 is the frequency if you're listening in at oldtuberadio.net or watching the video and you want to try and listen in. As you can hear, there was just a little wee bit of skip from Hawaii coming in, but you never know. 27085 channel 11, and then of course oldtuberadio.net for the audio and everywhere else on your Universal Media Net web. So we'll just take it easy. We'll try not to get too wet tonight. And we'll get the SWL checks in, of course, and we do have plenty of room on the radio page if you dare. Before I get into any stations that are sitting out there would like to get checked in and take off, let me say hello to SWL 147. He's our 00. That's Neil. He may or may not know that. He was kind of disjointed last week. I'm just checking the screen here. As soon as coming in. All right. Got some stations joining us, and I will make sure that we get everybody checked in that would like to get checked in tonight. So, Neil, if you're out there, we will get you checked in. We'll get you checked in anytime. Anybody on the air here would like to get checked in early and get out of the storm?
195 checking in.
All right, as usual, trying to find the foot switch. 195, hello, Jim. If you can hear me, I will put in the proper item of interest and get you guys checked in. We had a little bit of a, I don't know, windstorm here about an hour and a half ago. Maybe you guys are getting it up there. So we've got you checked in, and you are sounding good. Over.
Thank you much, Dennis. Appreciate it.
All right, who was the other station here on Channel 11 that was wanting to get checked in? All right, on the other hand, I do have SWL 68. Michael jumped in early from New York, said hello, radio. By the way, if you're playing let me get a pen that works. If you are playing the home game, we are on week number 2. Week number 2. Or there's... You know, there's plenty of spaces to put X's in, so you can put them in anywhere. But if you wanted to do it correctly, you would be on week number 2. The break OTR, go ahead.
72.
All right. 72, Radio Boy, we will get you checked in, and hopefully your antenna did not blow down. So 72 is checked in. And thank you guys for the jacket. You know, this is really not the coolest, in a lot of ways, the coolest thing to wear here tonight. And is there a way to make it fashionable? Not really, huh? It's just, you put it in there. All right, anybody else needing an early check-in here locally? I've also got the window wide open behind me, so if the wind gets too bad into the condenser microphone, boy, I'm having a lot of trouble with the transmitter keying down here. I may have to go back there and do some handiwork. I'm just trying to get everybody checked in that has gotten by. All right. So we've got 00, SWL number 1, of course. Mr. OBP, who was on earlier before we had our wind stormium. I'm not sure if he's still out there or not, but Kevin, I saw you in there and got you checked in. Hopefully you didn't have any branches or anything falling down out there. Get a proxy check-in for SWL number 3. Speaking of, maybe it's this guy's fault, SWL number 5, the Rainmaker, Levon, if you are in, I will get you checked in. Don't see you just yet. I see a lot of people out there. And who said he's that a raincoat? Jose. Well, this is what is happening here on the West Coast right now in California. We are getting our taste of what a lot of other places go through in a hurricane that normally will not come through California because we have cool coastal waters, but we are getting one. A little bit of wind, a little bit of rain. It's not supposed to be here until tomorrow, but we had what they call a downdraft early ago, and I had everything disconnected. And there's something in this pocket. What is this? It's a Marlboro. Who smokes? Nobody smokes here. What is that doing in there? Where did you guys get this jacket? Is this a rental? Yeah, okay. Well, put that away. All right. Well, I know it's... Whatever. All right, what else is in here? I'll find all sorts of good stuff all night. And it is a most uncomfortable thing. But it's keeping me, if I have to run out, I will be ready. And Levon, waiting for Levon to come in. Who else? Let's go to, there's Mr. OBP. Hello, Kevin. Let's go to SWL7.
SWL7, checking in.
Hey there. Well, you are not far away from me, so my guess is you got the, what was it, all of 10-minute, 20-minute, it was called a downdraft, but did you have any wackiness over there?
Yes, definitely major wackiness and blew one antenna down. Luckily, this one was still up, so yeah, definitely got some crap going on here.
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose something because it was really coming down, and everything turned out okay in that way. I had, like, in parts of the neighbor's landscaping coming over the fence, and a lot of the old palm fronds coming out of the trees. All right, well, hopefully it is something you can get back up. I don't know. That may be the biggest whammo we get out of this thing. It was that little cell coming through, but supposed to get some more rain tomorrow. All right, well, you're sounding good, and I got you checked in.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to stick around, but was in a golf tournament today, disc golf that is, and I may fade out before you get to the tube radios.
Okay, not a problem. The whole station may fade out here before we do that, so we've got you in, and you are sounding good, and as they say somewhere, duly noted.
Thank you.
We're not hearing the short skip. Let me check out the DX map, because were it to show that we were doing good things, we would probably hear, is that correct? Looks like it needs to be updated. Dwayne and Chrissy coming out of Idaho, but you can see there is not much going on at all. If you guys were on ORN tonight, I bet you wouldn't have had much skip either. So how about 10? SWL 10, SWL 30. Chrissy, are you guys listening in? All right, nothing heard. So let me go back to the control point here. SWL 10, SWL 11. Dan, Mr. Cornbread and Dapper Dan. Dan was on earlier saying, make sure you get Dan checked in because he's got, what do they say, places to go and people to see, which he might be doing right now. But Dapper Dan, find your best snap-up vinyl raincoat and get yourself dapper. So we've got 11 and 12 checked in. Got everything going on here. 11 and 12. SWL 13 would be Mr. Cobra. Michael, let me go over to the chart at oldtuberadio.net and say hello to those joining us up in the balcony, the unknown SWL. You know who you are. Shinston, West Virginia. Thanks for joining us again. Inez, Kentucky. Van Man is in. Safe and sound in the van. Newcastle, Virginia. Middleton, Ohio. Centerville, Virginia. Coming up to you. Yellow Springs, Ohio. 11 stations coming in. Dallas, Georgia coming up to you. Chicago, Illinois from our... probably from our Facebook friends checking in. Jimmy Fiedler running another great group. Thanks for joining us tonight out there. Hans, we're coming up to you. Don't go away. Plymouth, Minnesota, Edmonton, Alberta. Chet and Charlie right up here in the front. And all is well here at the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's try SWL 14. Hello, Sangertown. All right, nothing from Sangertown. He's probably got all the antennas connected. I'll get Sean a proxy check in, but he might be brave enough to check items of interest in. Let's see, from the land, what was the thing? From the land of sky blue water, where I don't have I'm not getting a temperature or anything for you guys coming up there in Copenhagen tonight. Maybe they took a long turn in an Eggberg or something. Anyway, Hans is in. Alpha 173. I'll put the X in the square. Thanks for joining us. And what did you say? Yeah, call me. He says, call me the rubber duck. Well, I know I'm a duck, but this is definitely a rubber duck tonight. You can see the wind is coming up, so I will keep an ear out, make sure it's not coming to the microphone tonight. Enough, Hans. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's go over to SWL 16. Charlie, thank you for joining us tonight. And he says, we just got water. Water is good. Is this that weird water? Let me see. Oh. What is that, tangerine? I wasn't expecting it to be flavored. Okay, it's got my... Oh, you put electrolytes in it. I know it's been one of those rough days, so any extra vitamins will be helpful to you. Thank you out there in Anoka, Minnesota, where you often have to wear garb like this. Let's go to SWL 17. And they're saying the microphone has moved away. All right, well, you can hear that. I do have the Echo link up tonight. I managed to get it on the same computer. I think that's why the computer is working overtime tonight. SWL 18. SWL 18. I'll get Mr. KDA a check-in from Facebook tonight. In the front row with the cue cards and the umbrella tonight, I think. Although it's kind of calming down. I may take this off later. This is like really uncomfortable and hot. But okay. It says you never know when the roof may start leaking. That's what I keep forgetting. Out of all the great places that we have here at the Old Tube Radio Net Control, it seems like the net control chair is like in the worst spot of everything. So be prepared, they say. All right, Chet, thanks for joining us out there in somewhere around Derby, New York. Let's go to SWL 20. Hello, Harvey.
Hey, Dennis, I'm having trouble hearing you. I don't know if it's me or you, so I'm going to check my antenna connection in a little bit. But I'm here if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I neglected to take a look at where Ed was on my S meter, assuming he was at 20 over. And I talked to Cliff earlier, and he was over S9. You're about an S3, so your signal is way down to me. So go out and make sure that the little hurricane blast did not do something bad to the antenna. Over.
Hey, Dennis, I think it's you.
Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. You're S10, so hold on. Uh-oh. I got that wacky thing going on again. Let me do this. This is bad. This is a bad thing. Thank you, Ed. Let's see. Now somebody say something.
You're still a little funky.
Yeah, look at the meters. I think I've got a bad... Let me bypass the tuner.
Yeah, you were good, and then it kind of went away.
Say something again. I'm going to check antennas here.
Oh, that's even worse.
Say something, Ed. I'm going to check some antennas. Maybe I will be using my raincoat. Okay. Yeah, I am showing... There we go. I'm just showing bad stuff. Maybe I should go outside and look at the antenna. What do you think about that? Yeah, my power's really low. Yeah, my power is way low.
Yeah, it's not liking something.
Yeah, you don't sound right.
Yeah, because I know I talked to you earlier when we were good. Yeah, something is, well, let me check. I may have an issue. I may actually have to go off the air if I can't figure this out here. That figures. That's where you get on the air 2 hours early to see if you can get some. No, my power is showing super low here.
Yeah, very distorted.
Oh, well, let's see. We got another trick. Let's go over to the REA meter.
Yeah, the audio's real clippy.
Okay, well, that would tell me that I've got either a severe match problem or a radio problem, and I could listen to that. All right, let me hang on a second here because I could be damaging something.
Hey, Dennis, real quick.
This is a real quick frequency over.
Remember that thing I repaired? Take a look at it.
It's actually, it's actually showing up good. Let me try something. That was the first thing I looked at.
You sound a little bit better right there.
Ah.
That is definitely better.
I'm seeing if we got a bad relay here.
Getting better.
No, it's still not good. Wow. I have no power output. I'm showing bad. I'm gonna. I need to go check on an antenna situation, but I think I've got some issue, and it's one of three things. I think I'm okay though. I'll be back.
Okay.
And we'll be back in just a moment. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Radio, aloha. And aloha back to you over down the islands, Fresno, California. Squad, Honolulu, Mobile. 274, Mod Squad, right back. On the frequency? SWR 38.
We got the skip land checking. Did somebody say Fresno?
Is the whole team network?
Well, you're sounding better.
If y'all there, Mod Squad be in Honolulu.
All right, yeah, Mod Squad is checking in for 38.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, man. Some of the guys are here and not
Sam is getting a DX check in here.
I don't know if I had a reply in there. They're going to mark you on a roster, like a check-in.
Sam is working the room here. Hey, buddy. All right, I just bypassed a whole bunch of things, which probably means I can not be heard as well, but maybe I sound better.
You definitely sound better.
Yeah, and the receiver's back up to where it should be now.
Your signal is definitely stronger. Hey, Dennis, was it the thing I worked on?
It's hard to tell, but that's in line with some other stuff, jumper cable. So what I did is I went and, because the antenna's fine, I went and bypassed all of that trickery and went back, as we say in the broadcast biz, to keep it simple, stupid. And so I think, yeah, somewhere in that chain, there is some malfeasance. Over.
Well, to me, your signal is lower. You're a lot easier to understand, more clear, but your signal is wavering like a skip signal.
Aloha.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have, and hence the thing when people come on and they have bad audio and they're running amplifiers and they think I should sound good. There is the classic case of if you don't have a proper match between the radio and the amp to the antenna, the coax jumpers, it doesn't matter what your watt meter says. You're going to be a strong signal, and you are going to sound, as we say in the business, like fecal container audio. So sometimes you've got to have all the ducks. Who said duck? You've got to have all the ducks in a row. So, all right, I will continue through the roll call, and we'll see if people can hear me. We can continue with that. Of course, in the Universal Media Netweb, things are always good. People can hear you. I'm going to check in SWL 38 right now because we just got a confirmation from out there in the mini grass, Sam. If he can't get Idaho, where's 38? And thank you, Harvey, and thank you, Ed, and all these ships at sea. There's 38. If Sam can't get to Idaho, well, then he'll figure out how to get a check-in from Hawaii. So we've got you checked in.
I don't know if it would help, but you're in right with Hawaii. So if your audio was up a little bit more, you might be on top of them.
And there's 111. Who's got the big signal? Let them know. 111, you're listening on the stream. We've got you checked in. Robert, over.
Hey, Robert, 111, you're checked in.
All right, have a good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, sir. Take care. 111, please.
All right, Robert's sounding good tonight from Reedley. Yeah, the cat's climbing and everything because I have the door open. And it's like, what? I can come in? So, yeah, okay, kitty, you got to behave. So that way I'll know when something crashes. It'll be because of the cat. All right, directed net roll call, albeit that it is. We got to check in for 20. 20's in. 21, Mr. JT. JT is agreeing with everything going on here. I think, sometimes the best laid plans do not go as planned when you have massive things and lots of cables and stuff going on here. JT, I hope your weather gets better so that you can get on the air next week. All right, let me get this cord out of my way. It's kind of. All right. How is that? All right. I can hear the whine of the computer going on. 21 is in. SWL 22, Tyler in Alaska. Like I said last week, Tyler, I visited our fine, 49th state, and all was well up there except for the glaciers. They're not doing that well. We got you checked in if you're listening. 23 Skidoo. Mitch is saying, modernize that thing. Get yourself a Tram D201 and a varmint, right? And you'll be done with it. SWL 24. Hello, Joseph.
24, checking in.
All right. Hopefully you are surviving the wacky winds out there, and thanks for hanging in and joining us. SWL 25. All right. I'm going to do one more. See, that's odd. Let me bypass this. No, I got a bad match somewhere. Yeah, I can see it floating around. Okay, I can see my. In fact, you can see it if I turn it on right. You can see my SWR Let's monitor SWR, shall we? There it is. Yeah, you can see it going from 0 to 1.5, so we just got a little wind on the Star Bruiser antenna. SWL 25. SWL 27.
27 checking in via the FM crossband.
All right, let's try this. You know, there's one thing that I set up that we didn't check. And we'll see if Dwayne will help us out here. Do you hear me over at KB6GFD?
Hear you just fine. Number 27 checking in.
And doing a good job of it. When all else fails, grab a radio that works. Thanks for checking in. KB6GFD.
You're right. AI6QEF.
All right.
I up the pond with some water I see over there.
Dwayne checking in on the crossband. It's always nice to have a backup, even if it's not the backup you want. Let's see if Gary and crew up there. Gary, I don't think you are going to get anything on this storm like we have got here or will be getting here coming up tonight and tomorrow, but you never know. I know you're definitely probably going to be getting some rain out of this.
Just came out for a little bit out there, man.
And yeah, Levon, we anticipate, they're saying like an inch or something. I don't know. That would be really unusual for August here in the Central Valley where it would normally be 100 degrees. I don't know. This is all kind of new territory for us, so we're just kind of waiting and seeing what is happening. Got a proxy check-in for Mr. Loner. Hello, Idaho. Anybody out there?
Reading the mail over here. Okay, Fred. If you take care of my friend, keep your foot out of the mud over there.
All right, we'll put in the highway. Hawaii's just kind of one or two people floating through tonight. Put the proxy in for 10 and 30. They'll probably be back in just a little bit. SWL 31. SWL 32. Shortwave listener 33. Should I even check myself in? I don't feel like I'm here tonight. I feel like I'm going through the motions, but we're good. I'll get everybody checked in. SWL 34, Jimmy, the gang out there, Batavia, listening in, saying hello, radio. SWL 35, you know, Mr. Bill was alive and well. Red Monkey Communications. And saying hello, radio from Cool Cheyenne about 45 minutes ago. Got him checked in. Let me check in just to make sure that could be a mobile check-in. Was that a mobile, as we see on the radio check-in, KB6GFD?
No, this is the base station type check-in after reconnecting all the coax after the thunderstorm that we had this afternoon. So, hope all the SWLs out there have power. Because certainly don't downtown in my office. I just had to shut down all of our servers. So, other than that, SWL 52 from behind the golden microphone.
All right, and you answered a question. We had the big downdraft here an hour or so ago, 2 hours, whatever it was, and it was different in various parts of town. And that was the first thing I thought, that there was going to be a lot of power outages with downed trees or weird things going on, but there was nary a flicker here. So you've confirmed that indeed some places are without power, and you are one of those guys that gets the call. All right, anyway, we got you checked in. It seems safe to put the antennas on for now, and hopefully things will get back to normal, and life will be good. Thanks for checking in, KB6GFD.
Roger, 6USY.
Or there was Aaron, SWL 52, doing a little bit of IT work, getting the radios hooked back up after our first little portion of the Hurricane Hillary, by the way, is the name of the storm. Let's go to SWL 36. And I'm still on the funky headsets here because my luggage never came in. It's probably not coming in, so I'm going to have to reorder a lot of things. All right, this guy is here. His antenna doesn't have a problem. SWL 37. Got Chris checked in. SWL 38 with the proxy check-in from Hawaii. You know, normally the mini grass will just sort of ignore the old Tube Radio Network as they've been doing for the last 40-something years. But when Sam gets on, it's like, hey, Minigrass, could you talk to those guys down in Fresno? Let them know I'm out here, and they did. So good job, Sam. Let's go to SWL 39. Who is it said the jingle singers are on Hurricane Patrol? We need the jingle singers like nonstop in here tonight. That's what we want. Let's see what Larry is doing. Hello, he's probably got his hands full. SWL 40. SWL 41, Road Dog 507, of course, from the Tri-County React, Hudson Valley, New York. Saying good evening to everyone, and good evening right back, 41. Let's see, I didn't say hello to some of the people. Steve, I agree with you. Steve saying need to get rid of that Starduster and get an Alpha V500. It's actually, I had an original Starduster, and you know what happens. Little things, plastic stuff breaks. This is the M400 version. I think it's sort of the knockoff, but I had it for 20 years. Good little DX antenna, but I agree. The either the V500 or the, the SPT 500. And I think they're similar, but not quite the same. Would probably get a nice, 5/8. 5/8 with the ground plane. So, Steve, I hear you, and I think you are spot on. Han saying cat control. Where is Kitty? Is Kitty already bored? But that didn't last long. We had Pink break in to the radio room, and she is gone already. All right, that's a bad sign when your best audience isn't going to stick around with you. Jim, maybe a dirty relay. Yeah, I see. I've got tuners and jumpers. Something is not happy. Something is feeding back somewhere, and it's not showing up on the proper meters. So anyway, I'm just going through United Delta X-ray 183. Jed's going to be out checking his antenna. Always a good idea to check your antenna, and a really good idea to check your antenna when the weather is bad, like it is here. A neutral observation. Also here in California, I believe. Saying hello radio to the crew at the Old Tube Radio Network. Dennis is in, SWL 96. I'll get him checked in now. Out in Kerman. Dennis, I bet you guys had some wild stuff going on up there. I'd be curious to see what if the ditch banks are on tonight, how they did. Rusty Rails, hello to you. Central Arkansas. Just wanted to get a few more. Appalachian Andy. It says, what ET devices am I talking on tonight? Obviously ones that don't work very well. I should get one of those real radios. Red Fox 1, Rhode Island will be coming up to you. So if you can't stay in, I will make sure that you get checked in. Now the headphones are going out on me. Let's continue. Directing that roll call. And we'll be checking in some radios tonight. We've got a couple of them out there. Go to SWL 42. Shortwave listener 43. SWL 44. Well, Ray can't even hear me when I have a good antenna and decent power, so he's probably not going to hear me at all tonight, but I'll get him checked in. Mr. 360. SWL 45. Hello to Paul and Kelly up in North Fork. Okay. It just came back. Trying to see if I get all the headphones to work. SWL 46. That's why I love adding video to the radio thing, because normally people say just on the radio, on the video, it's like just all this craziness going on. It should not be that hard to talk on your 11-meter radio. SWL 47. I hope Michael is not. Well, you know, school is starting, so he's probably super busy. I was going to say he's probably not on any weekend vacation or something, because he wouldn't, first of all, he wouldn't do that with the weather. He wouldn't do that with the weather we're having. So I'll get Michael checked in. SWL 48. SWL 49. SWL 50. And there is Neil 147, also AKA known as 00, believe it or not. Yeah. Got your name in the proverbial drawing. So let me get you checked in. We're having weather issues tonight. I'm having some equipment issues tonight. We still won't be managing to transmit to somebody somewhere. Let's try SWL 51.
SWL 51, checking in.
All right, Dave, I know I'm down in the mud. I'm wearing the rubber ducky rain suit tonight, so thanks for pulling me out. We got you checked in.
Yeah, you're a little bit weak out here today, but I barely hear you. But anyways, have a good evening.
All right, and there's a kind gentleman telling me that I'm just a little bit weak. Wait, he's got his, were we to see him, he's got his ear to the speaker. He's saying, yeah, just a little weak. But he's got a good receiver and a transmitter. All right, thank you, Dave. SWL 52, you heard moments ago checking in. SWL 53, hello, Mr. Belair. I get Bob checked in. He's probably got his antennas disconnected. That's a safe thing to do. In this kind of weather. Page 3. The China Cat Sunspot. I don't know. There's something going on. SWL 54, we've got a check-in, proxy check-in for Larry. SWL 55. And I heard this station earlier. Hopefully you can hear me, Phil, when my sorry state of affairs here. SWL 56.
Well, good evening, Dennis and Annette. Yeah, you're about pretty close to normal on your signal strength, about 20 over when you modulate.
All right, well, this is the Cool Kid on the Block frequency. Speaking of Cool Kids on the Block, I believe I saw earlier the number 4 running man with the GFD house there. All right, at least our satellites, our APRS satellites are working. They haven't been blown out of the sky. All right, and thanks for, you're sounding it. Thanks for checking in. SWL 57. That would be Mr. Brown Dog Audio. Foxman 362 says, do the train whistle. You know, that is actually a good thing. I have no idea where the train whistle went. The train whistle used to be right here. I did some cleaning. Oh, you know what? Kitty's been in here. All right, well, were I to find, I better not do that, aforementioned train whistle, we would do that. It's right there. So you now have me wondering what happened to the train whistle. Yeah, Neil, you got the 2-for-1 coupon. This is week number 2. We're in week number 2. So you got 1, 2, 3, 6 more weeks to go of double, what do they call it, double jeopardy going on. Let's try SWL 58. SWL 59. Uncle Hairball, array for 59. Let me get you checked in. The Bozo, we always know where the honking proboscis is there, Joey, on the Ultio Radio Network. That, if we lose that, we will definitely be going off the air. SWL 60, Joe.
Check him in and also me, Dennis.
All right, 60 and 37. I did get you checked in, Chris, because I knew you were there and you probably had to step away, but you are officially checked in now.
All right, thank you. I was in the other room. I didn't know when you was coming back on. I just dawned. I was watching the movie, got into it.
Yeah, it makes two of us. Never know when we're coming back on. All right, direct and net roll call is where we think we are at. And there are a couple of tube radios that are coming out there tonight, and I do want to make sure we get them checked in, because this is, what do they call this thing? The Old Tube Radio Network, SWL 61. SWL 62. Shortwave listener 63. 63. I'm just trying not to break stuff. That's my goal here tonight. Don't break a lot of stuff. Out to Wisconsin, 9 land. I think Craig is flashing on my screen here somewhere. Yes, he is, saying good evening. Shortwave listener 64. Thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network, such that it is tonight, SWL 65. Be nice if I could keep the transmitter keyed. SWL 65. Shortwave listener 66. SWL 67. Got a check-in from Michael out there in New York, SWL 68 from earlier. And Kenny was in earlier, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Kenny gave me a good report, saying you're sounding good. Despite all those things, you're sounding good. I like those reports. SWL 70. And United Delta X-Ray 786. I see you in there, Uncle Hairball. Did I give you the official? Yeah, I should have. Let me do it again. It'll show up on the screen here somewhere. There you go. SWL 70, I'll call it 70 again. And Stan is out in Dallas, Georgia, listening in tonight, SWL 71. And it's been a while since I went over to the other page to see exactly what is going on. I want to refresh my comments. oldtuberadio.net. There's also a way to leave information and comments there, but I think you have to have a Facebook page. Tonight, Stan is working in the NAQP. I have not had, obviously because things are not working very well, the radio on all week. I've just been involved with other things, so good to know what's happening. NAQP as we speak. Next weekend, the clubby's out there in, where's he at? Near Atlanta, near Dallas. We'll have a special event for the 150th birthday of Lee DeForest. Now, that is cool. We will have a special event station, Whiskey 4 Delta. Check QRZ next week. Okay, I will, Stan, I will definitely be in with that. Lee DeForest is, somebody we always studied, especially if you are in broadcasting and you like tubes and you like television and FM and AM and all that. DeForest, Mr. DeForest is one of the names that comes up. Without his little workings, there would be a lot of stuff that we wouldn't be doing. So, good deal. So, mark that on your calendar. Whiskey 4 Delta, 150th birthday of Lee DeForest. Cool. I've never been involved in a club event like that. Never been on the air station, but that sounds like it's a lot of fun. And maybe someday. Let's go to SWL 72. Mr. Radio Boy checked in earlier. SWL 73. And, hello to Alex in Crown Point, Indiana, checking in about an hour ago. He says he did spend a few years in Fresno. Oh, gosh, like 7, 8, 9 years ago. Well, were you to have turned on Channel 11 even back then, you would have heard the Old Tube Radio Network live and direct coming through your radio. Thanks for joining us. And we are here most Saturdays when I'm working, when the equipment is working. Let's go to SWL 76. And that's the Q, the Rhode Island station. Red Fox 1. Sounding good. And I did see you there earlier, so Mr. Red Fox, I've got the X in the appropriate square when I get back to the right window here. Yeah, all right. We are in and doing well. I want to say Red Fox 1, thank you, 76. Radio Randy, if you're here, 99. Let me get you checked in now. I don't know what part of the Hurricane Hillary you guys are going to get. I don't know if you're getting it right now. We had a very interesting event earlier with some updrafts causing some issues, hence the garb here. I'm ready to go back up on the roof and fight Hurricane Hillary. Anyway, Randy, I hope to be back on the other airwaves soon. Lots of things going on. I'm feeling a lot better, getting the equipment up to date, and we should be joining the audio crew and whoever down there on 40 meters. So thanks for checking in with us tonight. Hello to GWD Labs. He's waiting on the grade to deluge and listening to OTR. I've got the window open, waiting for the buckets of water and the the Rites of the Valkyries or something to start playing. Yeah, I agree. OTR is a blast, especially when you get everything to work right. We're on the Direct Internet roll call. If you have a radio, do not go away, because that is the reason that we are here. The Old Tube Radio Network, to check in, talk about, and discuss those glow-in-the-dark radios from 1958 to 1978, at least a Class D. Randy's got some non-Class D radios that we'll be hearing from at some point during Cycle 25. We are looking for SWL 77. Shortwave listener 78. I did see Wild Wildemar online earlier. So, Richard, hello to you. I don't know. I think my antennas for HF are good. It's just the 11-meter stuff, the 11-meter roustabout jumper cables that are doing bad. So if I have any energy, maybe I'll try getting on tonight, but no promises. SWL 79, I did see Philip in earlier saying to get checked in, or get him checked in, and I will do that. SWL 79, thank you, Philip. Rhode Island had a tornado. We don't get hurricanes. We don't get tornadoes. I guess we get more tornadoes than hurricanes, but they're very, I don't know what the number is, but they're low on the number. They might take off a roof occasionally, stir some things up, but we are not Kansas here in Central California. Let's go to SWL 80. Although I feel like Toto and the balloon will be coming at any moment. We are going to, is Bob and, are they around? Did Bob and Steve make it? I don't know what the weather, I thought maybe they wouldn't be around, but they are here, so here we go. Bob and Steve? Yeah.
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
Okay, Whoopi, what is going on? Sometimes if what I found, if I move out of the way, things go swimmingly. Episode 178 for August 19th of 2023. Cold wave in Fresno today, as you know. Down to 97 degrees. Actually, it was 97 and turned into about 67 in about 10 minutes. And let's hope Hillary stays away. Well, we'll get parts of it. San Diego, maybe not so. They canceled out the trip today to Huntsville Hamfest. Would have been a good one, but have been very busy securing all the antenna systems in the area. And that's nice. Like I said, I went out and looked at the antenna. It was great. It was everything in here that was the problem. So you guys did a good job. I think we only have one reported lost so far, but everybody else has been checking in. The bar tonight from Frankenmuth, Michigan. Dr. Frankenmuth, I presume. Zenders of Frankenmuth, a tradition of good taste since 1856. And probably people back then knew how to actually pronounce it correctly. They are all set up in the green room, so you Frankenmuth fans, you Michigan fans, head out to the green room. Got some family-style dinners. It smells good. There's a lot of breezes blowing through here tonight. And so you want to get down there and join that. Join them after the net. Join us during the net if you can. And the drinks are on Bob and Steve. Of course, don't forget to feed the fish and save a few of those drinks for me, will you?
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
All right, good deal. I will be back in a moment. And we will continue with the roll call and checking in your radios here on the All Tube Radio Network. Okay, we appear to be back. I was looking to see if I could find that pink kitty. She's just nonplussed with OTR tonight. Probably I'm going to get some suggestions on what to do or not to do. I think the problem is there were no treats. And all there was that Marlboro thing in this pocket. There were no cat treats. That is the first problem. Let's go to SWL 81. SWL 82. And I've been in the ditch banks for the last 3 weeks, the Wednesdays for the last 3 weeks. I think I'm going to be able to get back in the swing of schedules coming up next week. So that will be nice. So I'll get Ron checked in and find out what's happening up that way. Sylvania, Ohio. We promised that we would finally get to SWL 83, and we have done that. So let me get you checked in. And thanks for, what do they say? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining us tonight. Who else? On his 1959 realistic TRC 27A, all warmed up and running good. We occasionally would get a check-in on one of those. The real realistic, right? Not the Navajo, but the TRC. I had a 23B, I think. But this is the tube version. And I'm not sure who actually made that for realistic, if they did or not. But it's a rare radio and it's a great radio. So thanks for having it ready to go. Who else? Oh, Mark, hello. United Delta X-Ray 875 is saying hello radio and checking in. Thanks for stopping by. Harlem, Georgia in Forland, Quebec Alpha Sierra. Thanks, Chris, for saying hello radio. I'm going to get the group checked in, SWL 84, 86, 87, and 88, and that's, of course, Cheerios Kid, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl. SWL 89, SWL 90, SWL 91. Felix is always a good sport. He's able to put up with all of this old tube radio shenanigans. Thanks, Felix. Saying hello, radio. Hello to me, the shortwave listeners, the tube radio operators, and whoever else might come in tonight to brave the storms and the tubes. Thanks, Felix. Let's go over to SWL 95. And there is Gary, 28, saying checking in, 88 and calm, but bolting down the hatches. Well, Gary, you can see, we've already had our little updraft, downdraft to start out at least the edges of Hillary. So I think you guys are going to be safe up there, but no doubt you will be getting some rain or something out of this. It is raining off and on here, but not very much. And the wacky stuff that happened earlier seems to be okay, and the antenna is still up. SWL 96, Dennis was in just a moment ago. Who else is there? Squamish? Hey, Albert, hello. Albert, if the uplink is up and running, and I can remember at a decent time, we'll try you guys. That was weird last night. I tuned in, and here was the Hawaiian station that we were hearing. You guys were hearing even larger than that. The skip was covering you up on the link last week, but you were there, sounding pretty good. SWL, where's Jim? Jim is in here. SWL 97. Boston 97. Jim is there. He is right there, saying hello radio. And he's going to be checking in on the Lee DeForest Audion frequency. Yeah, this is definitely the Audion frequency. You got to have Mr. DeForest. You can't have tubes, right? SWL 98. SWL 99. Randy was in just moments ago, letting us know all was well and things are still up and running. Okay, here's a chance for me to check out the Echolink link, which may or may not still be working, so we'll see. Tony is there on Echolink, so we'll see what I can get. KD4BAO, KB6GFD, hello radio. And Tony was joining us by Echolink tonight.
Good evening, Dennis. Please check in SWL 100. Sounding good, KD4BAO.
All right, and likewise, you are doing well. I have sort of made it through a plethora of wacky things going on here. We will check in some radios, so do not fear. Tubes on the Air is near. Thanks for checking in with the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, and thank you for checking in with the Old Tube Radio Network, Tony. We will be having tubes tonight. We had some wacky things going on, but everything is working now. Thanks for checking in, KB6GFD. All right, the Echolink link is up. Doing okay. Let me get through some more roll call here. I know we got, looks like we have another Echolink. I'll see if we can get into James in just a moment. But I want to get the roll call going on here. Let's try SWL 102. John, yes. I saw you earlier, and I don't remember if you got an early check-in or not. No, you're right there. Scranton, Arkansas is right there. So you've got a regular check-in and an early check-in and then a late check-in if you want it. Thank you, 102. SWL 103. And John got another less than $10 bargain for his radio collection, an Allied A2657. Same radio as the B&K Cobra 98. Indeed it is. We've had a couple of those check in as well. So made for Allied by B&K. Sounding good. And boy, that is a $9.99 bargain for sure, because those always sound good. So hopefully it won't need too much work to get it on the air, or it'll look good setting in the radio case, because that is a nice looking radio. Let's go to SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Crawdad 109 checking in.
All right, thanks for hanging out until I actually got to the page and braving the winds and the storm, or whatever is going on up there. You are sounding good here in the Flatlands, and we've got you checked in. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis.
Mr. Crawdad, SWL 109, checking in. Put the X in the square if you're playing the home game. Let's try SWL 110. SWL 111, Robert checked in live and direct not too long ago. You're sounding good tonight. Let's go to SWL 113. SWL 114.
114 checking in.
All right, Wayne, thanks. I know I'm a little bit hard to hear tonight, but you have pulled me out of the mud. You are sounding good as always, and we've got you checked in. Over.
10 more, Dennis. Thank you for the check-in.
Okay, coming up on SWL 128, and I do believe that John in Fairfax, hey, Kitty came back, in Fairfax, Virginia, is in there tonight. I want to checking in. He says, hello, Crown Point from former Elkhart native. All right, so Crown Point was in earlier. So, yeah, there's Alex from Crown Point, Indiana. So, John saying hello there as well. Thanks for joining us tonight, John. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. Let's go to SWL 131. Shortwave listener 133. SWL 135.
SWL 135 checking in.
Got you checked in, and yes, I do have the radio list, so do not fear.
Groovy.
All right, I'm always glad when I know I'm going to get at least one check in. SWL 137. SWL 145, Tony. I will get Tony and Course Gold checked in. He has probably got all the antennas taken down for safety reasons up in the foothills. I missed the Friday morning net, but Tony does a good job on the Friday net.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm just testing real quickly. Haven't had this on for a while. Just got it. Just got everything back. Lost my phone.
We got a Echo Link check in that I'll grab here.
Anyway.
All right, there's Reverend Dr. Cherokee.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me make sure we can hear you there. All right, if you can hear me, yeah, we're doing the roll call right now. We put in a belated call to the Reverend Dr. Cherokee. I think you guys are getting ready to have a little bit of a storm thing coming in your way. We're getting a little bit of it here, but thanks for jumping in. And say hello, radio. I'll patch you through. Say hello to radio to Fresno, and we're checking people in. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, Dennis. I'm sorry. I didn't expect to really find anybody at the moment, but I'm glad to be able to talk to you. I'm glad to know that everything is going okay. A little bit of rain, yeah, I guess headed this way. In my area, probably not so much. I'm kind of on the outer fringe of this storm. You guys are kind of on the outer fringe too. We'll have to see what tomorrow brings for sure. Hello, everybody at OTR, the Reverend Dr. Cherokee, sometimes also known as 006. Have a good evening, everybody. Goodbye.
All right, that's Gary checking in from Echolink. Gary was around these parts when OTR was just starting. Yeah, and so he knows radios and RF and all those good things. He is now out of Arizona, but occasionally he finds his way in either, and he's done this before,
I see that I've totally forgotten how to use this thing.
Over the air, or he will join us via Echolink. All right, now you're doing a good job. I was just explaining to people that you are on our airwaves here in Fresno even before we started OTR 30-something years ago, right? Almost 40 years ago. Know your way around radios and RF, and yes, you have even checked in live and direct over the air when conditions permit. So a treat having you join us tonight. We've got you checked in 73. Stay cool, and we'll look for you again. KB6 GFD.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And it has been a long time. I didn't realize, well over 40 years. I started this whole thing way back, but anyways, I thought tonight I would just use the Echo Link. All right, you guys, take care, everybody. Like I say, have a good evening. I'm sure I'll talk to some of you soon. Lower 38, bye-bye.
All right, 73 from OTR, AB6GFD. All right, good to catch Gary. He used to go by the Reverend Dr. Cherokee.
Kevin, KRZ is clear.
And occasionally he will, he's in a good spot in Arizona to make it into the net here. All right, Tony, Neil, 00's in. Let's see if Mr. Snow Beast, Bobby's in, SWL 188. Mr. Corskell Starliner, Jim checked in early to be safe, keep all the antennas out of their house. And SWL 226, Mr. Shockwave. And Jeff is out there somewhere. Anybody else that I missed or would like to get checked in now, OTR listening? Okay, I will not delay any farther, whatever. I will be back in just a moment. And your Old Tube Radio Network will be doing what we should be doing best, is taking some radio check-ins before we sign out tonight. I don't smell the bad smell, so there was I've got a bad jumper or something going on here. But that's a good thing. Just some fresh air coming on the window. Back in a moment, your radio's coming up, the Old Tube Radio Network. I hear that wind's coming up. Kitty! Where'd you go, kitty? Kitty? Come on, buddy. Oh, you're gonna cause trouble, aren't you? That's your middle name, okay. Oops, I've got to change some stuff around here. I think I got to worry about it. So, let's go to... No. No biting. No. No. All right, let me bring this. Turn that back on. Thank you very much. Restart the tubes. Get rid of the loop. Maybe. Get rid of the loop. Good. Go back to that. And the winner is...
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Yes, the old... what appears to be the old tired Tube Radio Network tonight. You can hear the wind starting to collide into the Condensure microphonium tonight. And I can feel the nice breeze finally coming through. The vestiges of Hurricane Hilary coming up from Mexico into Southern California, here in Central California, a little bit of it. But the hurricane tonight, the hurricane right now, and I can hear it mustering up outside the window, is from your Tube Radio. So my name is Dennis, the net controller for the Old Tube Radio Network, when I can. So thanks for joining us at oldtuberadio.net, here live and direct on channel 11, 27085. Notice the skip has been few and far between. Sam did figure out how to get himself checked in via Hawaii, so it is out there, the DX map. Let me go to the map one time. And as you can see, or maybe you can't, but were you to see the Tube Radio DX map, there are just a few spots across the U.S., Colorado, Texas, Arkansas, where there is somebody reporting, and right in Northern California, they might have made some contact. So not expecting too much tonight, but you never know. You never know what you get. What we do want are your radios. So I will say the Old Tube Radio Network is listening, if I can keep the transmitter keyed, for radio number 1.
135, 135.
Okay. Somehow my long cord is not long anymore. 135. You seem to be the radio beacon in the night here, so hop up into the air chair and take a transmission. I've got the tube radio list ready.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is SWL 135 out here in the CB Cabana, where it just now became pleasantly windy. Boy, that was creepy earlier today, huh? All the lightning and the high winds. We got some very nasty winds around here, right somewhere around 6 o'clock. Came up without warning. Anywho, this radio here is an homage to Southern California. From beautiful downtown Burbank comes the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Back to you.
I was going to, and I didn't do it, look up on Google Maps the General Radio Telephone office, and I think it's on Burbank Boulevard. I'm going to pull up a picture here for our viewers, shortwave listeners, of the 9-tube 2-transistor CB transceiver of which you're talking on. And when I put it full screen, we can realize that it is indeed the one on which you were talking. We have a nice, great picture of the radio we're listening to, which is always a treat. So yeah, grab a transmission on the MC11A.
Yeah, this is the one you always show the picture of. This is the actual one that you see that you're now listening to. Yeah, some of that must make some sense. Yeah, 9 tubes, all 23 channels, and the CM3, that's Charlie Mike -3, general microphone, which looks suspiciously like it was, it may have begun life as a Turner 350. It sure looks like a Turner 350, but it doesn't say that anywhere on the mic, so we'll go with what it does say in the meatball, which is General CM3. Let's see, oh, it's gone just down a tiny bit in frequency. I got 0849. A couple of hours ago it was right on frequency, so it's just been on for a while now. Let's see, what else was I going to say about this thing? Nothing much else to say. Back to you.
Well, your description is good, and the radio is talking well. Next go around, I'll do the zero beat. I'm working on getting us a nice monitor scope, nice frequency display where we can actually see the drift, as it were, or we can enjoy the drift of an old tube radio, because that's part of the personality and classic. That, like, well, I started here, and I sort of, you know, it's walking the straight line. We will never give the touch your nose test on a tube radio frequency, because it may not pass, but that's okay. It doesn't have to. Looking at the 9-tube chart, ECL 800. Oh, I know what I was going to do. For those that are on the video, I'm going to pull down the screen you were talking and described quite nicely the CM3, and you do include it in your photo. And indeed, the great audio. This is not an amplified microphonium. As he said, there's no battery or anything, and that is stock audio, and the radio is designed to actually work with its supplied microphone. No clipping of diodes or limiters. You just turn it on and talk. And we'll let you do that right now. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
That's right. This is I usually say that. The unamplified dark gray plastic handheld microphone. And, yeah, it's amazing.
Hello, yeah, it actually puts out a lot of good audio without a whole lot of effort. It's a heavy little radio, you know, for its size. It actually weighs a whole lot, but it's still pretty small and easy to lug around. You know, bring out here to the old CB Cabana, where Now you see that some of the clouds seem to be dissipating a little bit, but it still smells like rain out here. I'm not sure. It's not raining here right now, but it sure smells like it's going to any minute now. So how close to on frequency am I? Did you tune me in?
I tuned you in. I'm trying to get the proper picture. There we go. I'm showing the shack here. What I want to show is the Super MC11A. Your frequency guess, well, it wasn't guess, you know exactly what frequency you're on, is correct. Maybe just a little bit more than 100 low at 270849 or 900. It's there, so obviously everyone listening at 3K or 6K are not going to hear any difference on that at all. The audio is super loud but clear, and it's getting a lot of good reports and thumbs up from our listeners all around. Somebody says, yeah, just grab that rack handle. And speaking of which, do you feel safe to actually grab it by the rack handles? I've had a couple of Yaesu ham radio rigs, and they have handles on them. I think my FT980 and the FT101, and they have these handles on the side like luggage. But I would not dare to pick that radio up by that handle that looks like it could break, or it just doesn't look sturdy on those radios. And those radios are, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. This radio coming in at about 20 pounds, I think. Looks like you wouldn't be afraid at all as to grab that thing by those rack handles and not worried that something's going to fall off.
37. My turn.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, and hello, Chris. I wonder what he's going to be on. They're good and sturdy, but they're kind of small and hard to grab. But I know what you're talking about. Like on my Kenwood, it's got a rubbery plastic kind of handle on the side that I would not dare. When I'm actually picking up or moving the radio somewhere, it just seems like it's going to break. You know what I mean? So I think I know what you're talking about. Back to you. I got two of them that way.
Yeah, and they do that. So, I mean, you could pick it up by the handle, but you got to have your hands around the bottom of them. And they're usually screwed in with a plastic keeper, and what happens is people tighten those screws down and it breaks the plastic on them. So, I don't know. I think it's one of those things they just, put a handle on it and it's portable for field day, but it's really not. But this is the real deal. This looks like good old rack gear that should be mounted somewhere. General radio telephone, 24 channels, the 24th channel being the Civil Air Patrol, and if I'm not mistaken, and Chris can help us out with this as well when we talk to him in moments, there is a spot as you click through 12, 13, 14, 15, where it says CAP. And I believe that is sort of how they got by with the addition of a couple extra watts if you plug in that unit in the back, put in the plug-in back to give it a little extra power. But I think it's type accepted, certainly for a Class D 11 meters at its 5-watt DC input. It's good. Give me another transmission before you go, and then we'll pick up Chris. We've got radio number 1, General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, and it's doing a good job, and I agree with that. That breeze is coming through the window now, and it feels good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, mine says help on channel 9, which is I've always thought was kind of cool. But mine does not say, it doesn't have the cap or the Mars cap or whatever I think like Harvey's and Chris's has. Mine doesn't have it there. Mine actually has channel 24 in the 24th channel slot. I don't know who did that, but whoever had it before me must have done that. But yeah, I was disappointed to find when I clicked over there that mine does not say cap there. So with that, we'll turn it over to Chris. And thanks for letting me check it in and sticking out the crazy hurricane. See ya.
All right, I don't even think we're done with the hurricane yet. It's just beginning. All right, very good. So, and a lot of, we found this out in the past, and a model run of even, like the Browning, R27, S23, there will be 2-3 different versions before they go on to an upgraded version. So, of course, General Radio Telephone, similar way, even with the EF Johnson 223, some had the Model Light, some didn't. So they were back before these were all, production lines from overseas. They were always on the workbench tinkering and maybe taking suggestions and saying, we could do this and we could do that, and let's try this, and that was a bad idea. And so that's one of the many cool things about the radio. You could have a different version than the person who's going to check in next. And speaking of that, hello, Chris.
Hello, Dennis. Can I check in my help cap?
Your help cap. Well, yeah, tell us, and I do believe you also have a Super MC11A. When you go to Channel 9, or I don't know, can you see? I don't think you can see. I could tell you right now. I could go to the menu. When you're on Channel 11, you can't really see Channel 9. It's right off the edge of the screen. So does it indeed say help?
Let me make double sure. And yes, it says help, and it has Channel 9 underneath of it. And the other one says cap.
Okay, and I don't know if we've ever determined, I think we have, that yours actually does have a 26 megahertz Civil Air Patrol frequency installed. I don't know 100% sure for that, but it has its own little spot, so you could put anything in there. You could put, I suppose you could put channel 38 in there. It'd be a little bit out of band from that radio, and you don't have a product detector, so everybody would sound like Donald Duck.
Well, hell, I can sound like Donald Duck anyway.
That's not bad. You sound like, we make a good pair tonight. You sound like Donald Duck, and with this garb on tonight, I look like Donald Duck. Well, hopefully the movie of the evening has run its course, and there's plenty of popcorn, and the power didn't go out.
Well, the power did go out once earlier when that wind first started coming in. I mean, and the daughter, she just came in real quick. She was dropping off one of her kids on the west of me here, and she got freaked out on the way home, so she stopped in here real quick because the wind was so hard and everything. And yes, the power popped a couple, about maybe 3-4 times. Everything went off for a minute, but came right back on within, I should say, for a second or two. Then it came back on. Of course, my direct TV, it was off for a little bit, had to reboot and everything. And it went. Then a little bit later, it went off again, and my AC went off, and it came back on, and it made a noise in it, and I know what that was. It was the compressor, because when it turned off, it came right back on. It threw it off kilter a little bit, so I had to turn the AC off and turn it back on to get everything going back like it's supposed to. So that's my exciting story over here. We got the wind coming out of the northwest right now.
Okay, yeah, so computers are like that. They don't like to turn off and turn on again. There's little clashy things, and zeros and ones get mixed up, so not a good thing. And a lot of times you've got a lot of branches with those big winds, those big downdrafts coming in, and the PG&E wires sort of snapping together and arcing and temporarily cutting the power, which is not good. So that's why you need one of those UPS, uninterruptible power supplies for your computers and stuff. So, because they don't like that either. But it sounds like it was good. You guys didn't have any down trees. I got no flashes here. I heard sirens, but they were all somewhere else. I didn't hear from Rich. I think the radio station stayed on, and I haven't been watching TV or listening to the FM radio to know if they're having problems up at the hill. But everybody's pretty much on a generator, so it should be fine. You are radio number 2, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, and I'm thinking it'll be a slow night tonight. Maybe we'll get a couple other radios, but right now the General Radio Telephones from beautiful downtown Burbank are doing well.
Well, good. At least we know the tubers are getting out there for sure. And it seems like it's working fine for me, and so it is for you. It was sounding really good, I thought. If mine sounds that good, I'm doing pretty good, so I'm happy.
All right, it sounds great. This is the happy frequency. It's all recorded on the YouTube, but our shortwave listeners are giving us thumbs up and stars. In fact, you've got a 5-star from Mark. Thank you, Mark. I'm sure Chris appreciates that. It always sounds good, so you can go away happy.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Cliff, hey, yours are sounding just as good, if not better, than mine, and then mine sounds just as good, if not better than yours. So we'll call it a tie. We both sound great.
I think yours is a little louder than mine.
I really don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me bring up the Orban meter. This is a loudness meter, but it's also, I'll do the signal strength. That's the thing too. So, Cliff, take a 10-second transmission, and we'll see what we got here.
Okay, dueling MC11As. Okay, this should be interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Audio. I got to at least try to get up there where Chris's is. Back to you.
All right, so you got us up to minus 18.5 on the LKFS meter. Your signal is from S9 to 5 over S9. Lots of good forward swing and nice loudness. All right, Chris, it is your turn. We'll see where you go on the Orban loudness meter.
Okay. All right, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, radio. This is me on mine, same as his. And I don't know who is going to be louder, but Dennis, you be the judge of that. So as long as I'm concerned, there's ties. But anyway, you can let us know. I'm a-listening.
Okay, interestingly enough, signal-wise, you might be a dB or 2 dB more, but almost the same S9 to 5, 6, 7 dB over S9 on the transmit. Same good forward swing. You brought the LKFS meter up to minus 17.5, so you've got 1 more dB of loudness. Now, it's hard to tell just listening, but the meter doesn't lie. So, Chris, you've got an extra dB on your department, over.
Well, can I have an A?
Or you would like to buy a vowel. All right. No, so they are very close. They are very matched at my location on the signal strength. And I think if you were both, without, having to try and make them a little louder, doing that, they'd be very, very close.
All right, well, good. All right, well, I got to get out of here. I got to fix the TV for one that's trying to figure out what to do here.
All right, now maybe another reboot. Hopefully the wind, and those, I'm assuming it's a dish mount thing, and those are usually mounted pretty solid. But the mount itself, but the dish itself could rock a little bit. So if you've got some way to do a signal strength or something, make sure that didn't go wonky. But, yeah, with the conditions, you may just have to wait for something to reboot. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio is going in the dark. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Cliff, and the Jingle Singers. So I won't even unkit. We'll go right to them. I think they work. I'm not sure. Here we go.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we are listening for radio number 3.
Hello.
Hello, radio, over.
Well, if I wasn't so out of shape, I would have reached up on the shelf and got my Super MC11A down. But I'm too old and out of shape to do that. So I'll do this one.
Okay, did I not inform you prior to net time that this is not the old and out-of-shape frequency, despite my best efforts to make it that way? So I don't know. That should not be an excuse, although I know from when you speak. I do like that you have a radio and that I could mark Radio 3 in the spot, which is what I will do next, and give us a transmission, and hopefully you are feeling a little bit less old and with some more energy. Over.
Okay, first, well, this is the Golden Beagle, the usual radio. Do I sound about the same as normal on it?
I believe you do. Take a transmission.
Okay, the ping's going to be different because I have something in line.
Yes.
In the audio section. But you can't hear it yet. And a couple extra cables. Also, proxy me in next week. I might be able to do it from out of town. I won't be back in town in time next week. But I might be able to check in via the stream type deal, Facebook, whatever. Okay. How's that?
That is good. Yeah, the ping, I think, is a little different. Sometimes that the Beagle has more of a higher frequency pitched, so it's definitely got a classic ping, but it's got something going on around the edges. But it would be very hard to detect for those who do not tune in week after week. Over.
Okay, this is a Browning Golden Eagle R68T68. Okay, I'm going to try something, Dennis. The next time I come back, I might have a little bit more audio gain, possibly, and it just might sound different.
All right, we'll be listening, standing by here in the Old Tube Radio Network. Radio number 3 online with us, the Browning Golden Eagle the Browning Golden Eagle R68T68 with an extra. Go ahead.
Okay. What does it sound like to you?
All right, talk some more. I don't hear a big difference, but I want to hear the ping again. Over.
Okay, that's ping. Now, here's some audio gain change. Okay. That should have brought the audio up a little bit.
You know, remember it's a Browning. It appears that it's bringing it up. What I'm showing on the screen here is the S meter, and I thought, well, maybe if you had a little bit more gain, we'd see the peaks coming up to S9, a little bit higher PEP peaks. Not a great way to do it using a short scale S meter. Another way I could do it is with the Orban meter, but I didn't get a decent chart on your prior configuration, because that could show maybe a dB or a dB and a half. And as you know, you could keep turning the audio, but if you're kind of maxed out on the radio, it may not get louder. It may just get, it gets that, mushy is not a good word for a Browning, but it just gets that extra fuzzy sound because you've reached the sweet spot. Right now, you're not overdoing anything. Over.
Okay, I'm back with the way it was. So do your Orban meter, check whatever you check, and see what it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Was that enough? Just the way it normally is?
Yeah, that's enough. You're hanging in the minus 20.5, and it goes back and forth. But that's where it likes to sit. So go ahead. I know you're doing the plug and play, and when you come back, we'll leave the meter up and see if we can't grab a dB or a half a dB here. Over.
Okay. I'm going to push a button. And there's the button pushed. And I turn the audio gain up. On my meter, I could see a change. But let's try something else here. Let's try this right here. What did that do right there?
All right, well, I do hear a tone change now. There's a little bit more low frequencies coming through. And, of course, the Browning really rolls off stuff under 200 hertz. It's really hard to get any super low frequencies like we would do, you know, on the Voodoo with the Voodoo guys. But I hear it creeping in. So, obviously, you're pushing some sub 200, 100 that's coming through. And that may be bringing it up. So I'm seeing about a half a dB on the LKFS meter where you're coming up to the minus 20, and it probably was going to hit 19 if you would talk some more. So I hear a fidelity change in the frequency response a little bit, and you are correct. You wouldn't want to go too much because it starts getting, it changes the tone of your voice a little bit when you start putting too much audio. But it did get, it is thicker. Is that a good word? Don't take that the wrong way. The audio did get a little thicker. Over.
Okay. Now we're going to try something else. I can't do this one too much, but here it goes. Okay. I turned something down a little bit. Now, what did that do?
Well, again, it's subtle. I think you are still good in the gain and the volume department. You're still pushing the top end to 20. Coming into 19, I don't think I heard much of a tone change. And in my ear, for a Browning, you are right at the peak of the sweet spot. So if you were to get louder, it wouldn't be beneficial to the quality, if you know what I mean. I'd still be able to understand you, but it would get that over thickness. But and I will defer. I'll take any comments from our listeners if you are hearing any difference. If you are hearing any difference, you can let us know. But they've all been subtle. Over.
Okay. I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit right there. Then I'm going to lower this thing all the way down. What did that do?
All right, well, that changed. Oh, Kitty, that changes a few things. That changes your tone because, wait a minute, we're going to have a problem here. That changes your tone. Hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. That it changes your tone, so you have a little less bass tone. It still sounds good, and loudness-wise, it's still good. It's not a considerable, noticeable drop. But again, all these are subtle influences, which we are recording. Yeah, and then Jim says second spot with a little more lows was good, and I think I agree with that. I'm listening. I apologize. I have the worst. I mean, let me go to the picture. I have the worst headphones in the world on because my good headphones are never coming back thanks to Southwest Airlines. So I grabbed these out of the box, and they have absolutely no low frequency at all. So I think you've got the two extremes, and that kind of number two, where we mentioned that it had a little bit more low frequency, but you don't drive it as much, is probably the one where it works best for your voice. But again, everything is subtle. Over.
Okay. Considering I'm on a Browning, let's try this. Okay, that's down all the way. And this one is now up all the way. I'm backing off the mic quite a bit. What did that do?
All right. The words muddy and yucky come to mind. And you know me in audio, so I played extensively with trying to feed the audio rack through the Browning, and they have some inline, I guess, in the audio circuit capacitance that really rolls off stuff below 200 and accentuates stuff in the high mids. And so trying to do anything to change their sound is very difficult. And what happens is what you just proved when you push up something in the lower frequencies, the radio ignores it, but it actually, I mean, the frequencies are still going in, but they get filtered out by the radio, but it does a bad thing. It doesn't give you the tone that you want. It makes it sound muddy as their stuff, the way they've got it tuned in sort of tries to ignore it, but it plays with the other frequencies we do here. So that last thing you did was the worst for quality and intelligibility. I would say it was not good. Over.
Roger, I thought so. Now watch this right here. There we go. Alrighty. Now, that should be, kind of a bunch of nothing. What do you think of that?
That might be good for DX. It's still pretty clear. I don't hear fuzziness, but it's pretty sharp. It's pretty piercing. So, were we to be having what they call in the biz a rag chew conversation, and I'm wearing headphoniums that accentuate the high frequency, that's a little tough to take, but I hear you just fine. So, and I could hear you roll through it. You kind of rolled through that mid-range that you need and accentuated the high frequencies that Browning will pass with no problem. So, in my taste, you went a little too far. Over.
As you can tell by the ping. Now, Browning likes the highs. So watch this right now. Now it's probably like I'm talking through my nose.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's the highs like all the way up.
Yeah, this is the pinched frequency. So you're, and with Browning, anything you do, above 400 hertz and below 6K, you're going to hear it a lot because that's where their audio is. So, yeah, you added some stuff, but you took out some things that are also necessary. But I still hear you.
Hear that ping? That's because I've got it up high. Okay. Probably, if I leave this one like right about here, turn this one down to about here, that might be a little bit better. What do you think?
You are getting there, because you do want some of the, for a male voice, the 160 is the worst thing you can have. The Browning doesn't pass those at all, but 90, 80 would be great, but the Browning doesn't pass those at all. So you're stuck with the 200. So you do need to add some 2, 3, and 400, but not too much. And probably make sure you're not doing too much at 4 and 6K to make it too sharp. With the ability of, and that's a nice unit you got there for that, the one 2 times ago, where you could kind of kick that in if you needed a little bit of punch. So you are getting there. And as you see, if you're looking at watt meters and PEP meters, when you add excessive frequencies, you will get, high frequencies, you'll get the PEP to go way up. Low frequencies, you'll get it to go up too, but you're hearing the low frequency energy, which doesn't necessarily mean, it's like, oh boy, my signal just went up because my meter went up. It's like, well, no, you're just adding a lot of frequencies that aren't really intelligible, and it's fooling the meter. So you got to be careful that way.
Roger. Let's see. Turn that down a little bit. Up a little bit. Anyway, this little item is a Heathkit Microlizer HD-1986, 1986. It's got a mic gain control and a low, separate low and high controls. It goes from negative 12 to positive 12 on the lows and the highs, and I was just dialing it around. I picked this thing up about a couple of months ago, thought it wasn't working. Then Cliff said, "Did you hook it up?" And I said, "Well, no." The light indicated, the little battery light, on-off light indicated it wasn't working. So then I hooked it up, found out it was working. And I fixed the light so that it lets me know it's on. Anyway, Heathkit Microlizer HD-1986, and according to the manual from 1984, it was built somewhere around then, I guess, maybe a little before. But yeah, I thought, well, why don't I try something a little different with the Browning? But the Browning doesn't like lows, so I can't push it through. But probably sometime in the future, I will have this hooked up to other radios.
Yeah, if you have any sonar, any other radio, like I said, any other radio besides the Browning, Heathkit, anything. First of all, you will hear the low frequencies big time because again, the radio's rolling them off, and what happens is you push them way over, and they don't sound good. High frequencies are going to be big time. So yeah, with that microlizer, you may find that you're going to want to pull out something in the mids or something in the highs. You would probably end up pulling something out just a little bit rather than adding. And I think we already found that the low frequencies, you have to have a multiple channel equalizer like I do, where you got 30, 50, 80, 90, 160, 210, and you're going to find out where the roll-off is on that Browning, and then that's where you start on the low frequencies. So yeah, your low frequencies are probably totally wasted. But I agree with you that you have, I wouldn't say a radio, you have many radios that you will be able to use that with. And I was trying to see if I could find a picture of the microlizer. Okay, I think I do. So I'm going to pop in for those who have the video. There it is. I think that is what Harvey is talking about. Mic gain, low, and high. And you plug your 3-pin microphone in there. It's got a battery tester. Is that the one that's got a battery tester on the front?
Roger. And what made me think it wasn't working is when you, and it runs by a 9-volt battery inside. When you push it, the switch in, the battery test light just blinks. And that's supposed to tell you that the battery's good. Well, I thought there was some sort of short going on in there, keeping the light from staying on. So I never hooked it up. And I was going to buy replacement chips and a transistor and all that. But then, after months, I downloaded the manual. And I read the manual, and the manual said, oh, it just momentarily comes on. So then I hooked it all up, and it works. And there's a way to take the light, unsolder one wire from it, ground that wire, and when you turn the power on, the battery test light stays on. That way you know that it's on, and you don't forget to turn it off.
Indeed. All right, somewhere in the book which you build, it may give you the low frequency is centered at and the high frequency is centered at. I'm assuming that's it because it's not adjustable frequency-wise, it's adjustable gain-wise. And they might have even given you, when the person, or when whoever put the thing together, some capacitors or something. Say if you'd like the low frequency to center at 250, build it this way. If you'd like to center at 400, build it this way. Same thing with the high frequency. If you'd like to center at 6K, build it this way. If you'd like to center at 1.7, build it this way. So that would be nice to find out. It's limited in what it does, but it would really be nice to know if they say when you put it together the way it's put together, that your low frequency is centered on X. And my guess is it's probably 250 or below. Your high frequency was kind of all different. I mean, it could 2.5K. I mean, popular voice frequencies on the unit I've got is 1.6 and 4.5, and all those will play well on any radio. The low frequency, if it's below 250 or below 200, as we heard, it's going to ignore it or do bad things. But this is a play on any radio, and this is the first time I've seen or heard of such a thing, and I'm not sure if it was made specific for one of their units or for VHF gear or whatever, but it is definitely doing what it's supposed to do. Over.
Okay, well that I like. It's small. It's a small unit, and I've got the cables set up. A 4-pin Cobra, front and back, and I've got cables to work with a Browning, but nothing else yet. So I'm going to have to get to that. But I like the fact that it's got the audio gain control, where if I use an unamped D104, I can turn it up. I've got other mics that I could use. In fact, Cliff and I were playing. I put a banana mic on this, not a banana mic, a ice cream cone mic, Johnson ice cream cone mic. You should see how that sounds on this thing.
Yeah, it sounds like it's, with minus and plus 12 dB of whatever their frequency is. It's going to be a pretty big difference, especially depending, like you said, on the microphone and the radio. And the best way to set it up is plug the microphone in question actually into the radio and set the level on the radio to a nominal level, and then have your mic gain at 12, and you absolutely have to have your both frequencies low and high at the 0 dB point at 12, I guess. And then plug the microphone into the unit, and then, in theory, just adjust that mic gain so it sounds similar to when you had it plugged into the radio, and leave the mic gain alone. And fix it so it's about the same, and then work on your gains, of course, with the two frequencies. And a little's gonna go a long way depending on the radio, the microphone, and the voice. So something to play around, but a nice handy tool. We all get the microphone that's not quite good and the radio that's not quite good. This would certainly be a helping hand for that. I would imagine, were you to feed audio into your 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, whatever would take audio, you could use it as a receive equalizer as well. Just feed your audio in, and then your output, you'd have to go to your an external speaker, and it's amplified. You'd be able to do some highs and rolls off of that. So you are microized and sounding good, and it does work. And as we found out, and I found out many times, trying to do any equalization on a Browning without going in and changing their internal audio chain capacitance is pretty frugal, or futile. It's frugal as well, too.
Break channel.
Oh, okay, I'm on the ice cream cone mic. There's a break there, so I'll stand by.
Yeah, I think we got to check in the breaking station. Go ahead, over.
Hey, Dennis, this is 777 Jimmy. I have a question for you, and I get back to what you was doing.
All right, go ahead. This is the question frequency. If I'm still on the air here in 2 seconds, when the cat takes me off, go ahead.
Okay, do you know a guy? He's 86 years old. He lives over here on Gettysburg. I forgot what his name is. He's a ham operator, and he knows you. And he told me to ask you, because you know how to program radios. I was wondering how to program this radio I have, or like a repeater.
Oh, that's probably Mr. Jerry, PKO. Been ham radio for a long time. It depends. If you're programming for a repeater, you probably got either a 2-meter or a 2-meter 440 radio, and there are all kinds of various flavors. The kind of one that's really popular these days is the Baofeng model, which unfortunately is like the worst and most difficult one to program. It's easy to get something in the screen immediately to get on the air, but to save things and it's a little difficult. So without taking too much time, I'm going to ask, what is the model of the radio in question, over?
It's the one you just said, a Balford. It's a UHF and a VHF radio. It's a handheld. Yeah,
it's the Baofeng, like a UV5R, the UV8R. and it comes with a charger. And what ends up happening, two things. The people buy a different antenna for it, because the antenna it comes with is pretty awful. There's a different antenna, aftermarket antenna you can buy, which helps. And they get something, and I've never done this. One of the guys at our radio station has one, and he just did it with, it's called CHIRP. So it's a computer software that allows you to plug a cable into the computer and a cable into the radio, and it will automatically program the offsets and the frequencies and the tones and CTCSSs that you would otherwise have to do manually for each and everything that you want to do, and then try and save it and try to remember it. And there's like 50 different menus, so you have to keep scrolling to the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, and then entering it, and then turning it on, and then backing out, and then going back. So it's a really hard, painful situation. When you first turn the radio on, there's a frequency mode and a display mode, so it's not too hard to go to the frequency mode and say, I want to go to the Fresno Amateur Radio Club repeater and some 14690, and you enter that. Then you have to get in the menu, and you have to tell it what the offset is, plus or minus. Then you have to get in the menu, and you have to tell it how much is it? Is it 600, which it is? And if they have the tones turned on, you have to get in the menu again and tell it to turn on the tone, and then you have to get into the menu again and tell it which tone you want to turn on, and it will remember that for that one thing, and you can use it. But if you go anywhere else, if you change your frequency, it's remembering all those other things for the other frequency. You have to turn everything off. That's why you have to program it into memory. So it is for those who know how to do it, I haven't really programmed one. They all say you have to do it with the Chirp software, and it's easy to do. Otherwise, you need hours and hours of time, and you need to be a very patient person, but it can be done. It is like the most difficult radio to program.
See, because that's what I'm having problems with. I'm having problems setting the tone in the offset. I didn't get no manual with it. It was the radio was given to me.
Right, the radios, they don't come with a manual. I think there's one you can download, and it's about 90 pages, and it's very small print. And even when they say trying to figure out the manual is hard to do, because you got to know which page you're going to and which other thing you want. The other issue I don't like with that radio, when you go to change a tone or a frequency and you're looking and you're going to the menu, punch it next, what they call the thing you want is often encrypted in letters and numbers, so it's hard to figure out. It's like, well, the tone isn't called the tone, it's called CTS number 4, and you have to enter it and turn it off and on. So it can be programmed. I'm not trying to discourage you. It's actually a great little radio for the price. With the external extra antenna that you can get, it helps the range on it. If you get one that isn't a knockoff clone, and they have them, that has issues, it should be an actual fairly decent radio, and it's a good thing because it's one of those radios that rivals a $200 or $300 radio, but it doesn't cost that. So when something goes wrong or you drop it on the ground and it breaks, and it will when you drop it on the ground, you don't have to cry so much. So I haven't answered your question. They are programmable, but you kind of have to know what it is you want. It's like what frequencies, what are the offsets before you start. I want these frequencies, this offset, this repeater, this tone, and you have to have it all written down in front of you, so when you go in to program it, you can kind of check it off the list and put it into memories. And once you do that over and over, it becomes a little bit easier. But again, without a manual, you are just guessing at everything.
Okay. All he told me is that you might be able to help me do this radio, how it should be.
Yeah, I could probably get you on the display for the Fresno Radio Club repeater and get you on a B-side for a 440, like a simplex, because Jerry talks simplex a lot. And that would all be on the front. But if you needed to do anything else, nothing would be in memory. So you really need to program things in memories. I don't know anyone. There may be, these are popular radios. So I would think between the Fresno Amateur Radio Club and the Clovis Amateur Radio Club, there has got to be at least one, if not many people who have that radio. and that have them set up for local repeaters, and the radio works, and they have the Chirp software. So the best thing to do is you go to a person that has the software, you bring your radio. If they have the cable, you hand them your radio. They're going to plug that cable into the radio. They're going to turn on their computer, and they're going to download all those items into your radio in about 10 seconds, and then it will be done. That is I want to say that's the only way to do it, but that's the best way to do it. And you want to do it with somebody in Fresno so you get the right repeaters, and it's done. If you do it manually, writing everything down, it will take you hours and hours and days and days. So number one would be to find somebody who actually has it, who's using the Chirp, C-H-I-R-P software in either like the Mountain Radio Club or the Clovis Radio Club or the Fresno Radio Club, and go in and say, if you get the Chirp cable, and they usually have it, but you can buy it, it's about $7, they will be able to take their computer, plug the cable in, turn it on, and that radio will be programmed in 1 minute.
Okay, now how do I get a hold of these people?
Assuming you are a licensed ham that can actually transmit and program on the radio, the Fresno Amateur Radio Club meetings are the second Friday of each month. And I am trying to remember where they are. I think they are at, I will have to look that up. And the Clovis Amateur Radio Pioneers, whose meetings are on the first Friday of each month, that are at the Veterans Memorial Hall in Clovis. So and they both start at 7 o'clock, around 7:30. So if you were to wander into one of those and chat with someone there, I would be very surprised if there isn't someone who has that radio and there's someone that has the Chirp software that could actually get it programmed.
Okay. No, I'm not a ham operator. I'm trying to get my license, but I don't know where to take the test. I've been studying for the test. All I need to do is take it.
Okay, and you know what? Both of those places, especially I would recommend Clovis Amateur Radio Pioneers, but also no, because they actually give tests. So, and they are looking for people just like you who. Oh, and we got some info. Yeah, okay. I'm going to. I'm glad you're listening. I am going to go to you, Aaron, and let you speak and turn up the audio here. And I think I'm on the right track with doing it by Chirp, because obviously if you try it manually, it takes for a long time. But I would think if you find somebody that's got the Chirp, you'd be able to do it much faster. So I'll stay keyed up and go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, very good, Dennis. Yeah, this is K6USY over here on 2 meters coming into the crossband. I have multiple Bofang radios, and I have the programming software and the cable and all the info. I'm actually the vice president of the Fresno Amateur Radio Club. We do normally meet on the second Fridays of every month at the Daryl's Mini Storage Training Facility on West Ashland, except for next month is our picnic on September 9th. So that might not be the best opportunity to get a radio reprogrammed, but yeah, Dennis can put you in touch with me. I'm unfortunately going to be out of town all next week, but we can hook you up with somebody or even me, and we'll get that radio programmed.
Can I give you my number? You can call me whenever you whenever you got time.
Yeah, go ahead.
The area code is 559-216-7400, and my name is Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy, I've taken a note for getting the Bofang radio set up. And also, and I'm going to say even more importantly, is maybe getting some information. Sounds like you are ready or close to being ready for taking the tests, which come up here occasionally in weeks and months. And you have a very good piece of equipment that will allow you to get on and get going with the hobby. So no problem. Over.
Thank you, Dennis. I'll let you get back to what you was doing.
All right. Well, and what were we doing? Anyway, Aaron, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for SWLing, and that is the perfect answer to our question. So at some point when it all calms down, I forgot that the picnic is coming up, and I'm assuming it's at the OIB Ranch. Might see you out there. So over to you, and thanks for the information. KB6GFD.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I turned the radio back on just to interject in there. I didn't want somebody showing up to the club meeting next month and nobody to be there. So, yep, it's programming those radios takes 30 seconds when you got the cable. I have never done it on the actual radio. It's not worth it. So, okay, turn the radio back off. We'll catch you later. K61 West.
KB6GFD. Yeah, I had one a long time ago. I had one in my hand, and it is just it is a veritable nightmare. And I think I even had the manual for it, and it's just really hard to find things. But when you go online, everybody says use the chirps or use whatever software. Plug the cable in, get somebody who's local in your area, so you get the local repeaters programmed in, and away you go. So it's a fun little radio, and the price is right. Okay. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio is glowing in the dark, sometimes not, but glowing as well. Harvey, are you still there? Over.
Yeah. With the ice cream cone mic on the microizer. Oh, crazy stuff.
Okay, on the, so you could probably, turn the highs down a little bit and the lows up, although, as we noted before, the lows are kind of ignored, but it's there.
Okay, I just wanted to use this thing tonight, so I'm going to kind of disconnect it and go back to normal.
All right, this is the back to normal frequency, and yeah, the microlyzer is limited at best. And it really would be cool to know what their center frequency is. And I'm sure they got to tell you on a manual somewhere between the low and the high, and that'll help you with a lot of stuff. Knowing, because there's some frequencies that a lot of times you just don't ever want to boost, and there's some that like we could boost or cut, and there's some like it's always you want to boost when it comes to. It comes to audio, and of course, that's given the microphones and the radio. So a cool little item to have, and once you know what you got, probably you'd be able to just figure out, I know this microphone, this radio does this, these are my two frequencies, I'm going to turn that over here and that over here, and you could probably guess and be good to go. All right, any other thing? I've got you logged in for the Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68, the microlyzer, something new. I've never heard of that. I will look for that. I'm surprised I haven't seen one or picked up one for a bargain at one of the ham radio swap meets.
Roger. I'm back straight D104 unamped into the Beagle. While we were all talking, I got a phone call. Someone wants to know if I was going to sell it. I said, no, I'm going to keep it, use it on some other radio, just keep it around. Well, do you have two? And I go, no, but there's one on, one where I could purchase it, or you could purchase it, from somewhere else. And the person said, could you buy it for me? So, we'll see what I'm going to do here. But prior to me in next week, I won't be back in time. But I may be able to check in via the stream there on the YouTube thing. So look for me to say hello.
Okay, will do. And Heathkit stuff, there are Heathkit collectors. So, and it's somebody, if you're a Heathkit collector, is something you might want. If you're a true audiophile, I would say there are did I say way? There are way better systems to use. They would give you a lot more flexibility, even in a 3-band or a 5-band EQ. And I'm not even going to reference the Julius IHY box, but that would be something like that. So if you were truly interested in doing some serious audio, there are, in my opinion, things that would work a lot better. Unless you found that your low-high frequency match with your microphone and with your radio were just perfect, you could line them up and set them and forget them, and away you go. But if it's something where you're really tweaking and peaking for an audio, it's in my opinion a little limited, but it does what it's designed to do well, and it's a cool little piece. And yes, indeed, if you have an audio, as we say, this, who said that? This is the frequency. If you have a frequency malfeasance, that could indeed help you if you turn the right knobs. All right, let me go back to you, see if there's any other stations that want to check in, and then I will get out of here, because I'm sure people are tired of hearing me talk.
Hey, there's my ping. Okay. Nope, that was about it. Anyway, so, the Sears 7535 clone of the Johnson 223 that I had on air the last 2 weeks, that's sold and gone and shipped and should be arriving sometime next week at somebody's house. So that one's done. But I've got my own sitting on the shelf. So I'll put that on one of these days again. Okay, catch you later, Dennis. I'll be out and turning this one off. We'll catch you in a couple weeks.
Okay, and yeah, I'm going to run some cables. I may have a bad patch cable. That system that I took out of line only gets put in line on a Saturday evening. So there's some fault somewhere, where there's a piece of equipment, multiple pieces of equipment, patch cables, multiple patch cables. Something has changed, and it's doing a bad thing. And the smell that I was is like at the tuner, which is totally bizarre. It appeared from the lights and meters that the other amplification device was actually doing okay, but was being, as we say, attenuated or hampered by some other connectivity issue. So that's where I'm at on that. And again, it's not a simple thing, so I'll have to kind of trace things out, and maybe I've got a switch that's 180 degrees out where it needs to be, whatever. It's just kind of strange that was going on, but I could eliminate it by taking the whole thing out of line. That's multiple stuff. All right, good stuff. Got you checked in, and again, let me pause to see if there's any other stations that would like to check in before I go outside and check the raincoat. There's a nice little breeze coming through the window. I'm smelling. I would say it might be raining a little bit. The air smells good. Listening.
Yep, there's one more over here in northwest Fresno.
Dennis, real quick, when you sign off, are you going to mess with it tonight on the air?
I am not, because it's dark and I'm going to have to crawl on the floor to probably look at cables. It's one of those things that's not, it's going to be like an hour or 2 hour project to do it right.
Okay. All righty. Hey, Mike. Hi, Mike. How's Mikey?
It's hot in the lounge.
Mikey's hot. Well, I won't touch that. Okay. Catch you guys in a couple weeks.
It is, even though the temperature is not high, it's this humidity muggy factor that we typically do not get here in the Central Valley, but I'm sure those who are on the eastern seaboard or in Florida do. So glad you can join us. At first I was worried. I said, I hope you're not riding or camping or something in this. And I think, no, he's too smart for that. Plus, isn't school looming, so that kind of puts a damper. That puts the real damper on everything. All right, over to you.
Yeah. You know, I almost, well, to be honest with you, I woke up this morning and I was sure I was going to do a Morrow Rock check-in. Unfortunately, not on 11 meters, or probably not. And I'm kind of glad I didn't try and go up on top of that rock. But instead, we're all safe and sound in the radio lounge. which is where I'm bidding everyone a good evening. This, of course, is SWO47 on the radio that needs no warming up whatsoever due to its instant on-the-air feature. This is my Robin T123B.
Instant on when it's instant on. Well, for tubes anyway, and that's sort of an old trick. I think my Hallicrafter Super Defiant has the standby switch to keep your your radio ready and to keep things from drifting around. You're not chasing that CW beacon up and down the dial. And it is good. Yeah, you don't have to worry about things being warm here tonight. And it is working well. I've got a great picture, so to take another transmission.
Oh, why, thank you. Well, first and foremost, I always struggle with what to say about these radios because there are way more people that are way more intelligent than I am to talk about these things. Number one, I can, however, tell you that this particular radio, although it is the prettiest and newest looking radio in the radio lounge here, I got to tell you, the previous owner was definitely a smoker, and with the fan, well, number one, with how hot it is in here, and number two, with the fan going on in the radio lounge here, man, there's a definite reminder that that person was a smoker. I actually don't mind the smell of cigarette smoke. I never have an issue if someone's smoking next to me. But this, boy, I guess there's something about nicotine on old vacuum tubes that's just been caked on there for decades and decades. That's I don't think it would make a good cologne. I don't think it would sell that good. The only other exciting thing that I could really tell you about this tonight is that at one particular location on the top of this radio, it's actually 138 degrees. I've always been very tempted to try and pour some pancake batter on the top of this thing just to see if I could cook them, but it might drip down there and might cause some issues. But let me tell you, it smells rather interesting, and it's hotter than the son of a gun.
Well, I think the Betty Crocker temperature is about 155, 160. Otherwise, you could cut yourself up a very thinly sliced chicken breast and some carrots and potatoes, and wrap them in some very nice, without any holes in it, heavy duty, especially heavy duty aluminum foil. And maybe in the 2 hours or so that the Old Tube Radio Network runs, you'd have something that would be cooked enough to eat without problems. I don't know. I don't know if you could cook an egg 138. That's just at that temperature where it's warm enough to be overdone for electronics, and not warm enough to be underdone for making your souffle. Over.
Yeah, I don't know whether to laugh at that or to be kind of nervous because of a fire hazard. The only thing I can say is I don't have power going to this radio all the time, so maybe that's my saving grace. I do feel a challenge being brought about. Maybe I can actually do this. Maybe I will, just for something new to talk about, put some tin foil on there and try and cook something. I don't know. If I do, I'll send you the picture. In the back of my mind, I was also thinking about how sad it is that you probably can't find a replacement incandescent bulb that would make an Easy Bake Oven work these days. I know I've made that comment before, but how sad is that you have these poor children that I guess at some point in time are trying to replace their light bulb in the Easy Bake Oven with, well, now since incandescent bulbs seem to have been outlawed, that'd be fun to see a kid trying to cook something with a replacement LED bulb in that oven.
Yeah, you'd have salmonella for sure with that LED, and I can't remember if they used 100 watts or 150 watts or 300 watts. I don't know. Yeah, it was cooking by a light bulb. You think, oh, okay, well, that's 100 watts. 100 watts is pretty, is a lot of heat coming out. You know, we're in the TV station, we're using 500 watt, well, they don't do now. They do the same thing, there's LEDs, but back in the day we'd use 2,000 watt Fresnels. 2,000 watts. And that's just one light, and we might have 10 of them. So you know there is, you know, it's 70 degrees at the desk, and when you go up on the ladder to change the bulb, it's 100 degrees because of all that heat up there. But then again, they've got these honking air conditioners that run 24 hours a day, so I don't know. I've got to find the right food. There's something there. Maybe you can pre-toast the bagel. Melt the butter and have a a nice little bagel on the air. Warm the coffee with the bagel. I think that would be the thing to do. Just make sure nothing spills on the top. Your radio sounds good. You've given us a fourth radio and a first Robin. Getting some nice comments. Everybody always likes. Well, it's this and that. Everybody always likes the Magic Eye Tube. Well, when this one shows up, they just like the glitter of it's got all the lights, it's got the great green color, and you just can't go wrong. So a crowd pleaser, easy either way. Over.
Yeah, that's a great point you make up, and then I'll shut up. I know it's getting pretty late here. This radio is fun to use. I don't like using it this late because it does not have an amplified mic. I'm using what I believe is the stock unamplified mic that may have come with this radio. But no, it doesn't have a magic eye to really wink and blink at you that much. But you just mentioned that, and it got me thinking about October is not that far away, and it's always fun when folks start bringing out their Magic Eye Tube radios about that time, because there is some sort of maybe I don't know, maybe there's a spooky thing going on there, but. Whether it has a Magic Eye Tube or not, the Robin radios are definitely fun to use. And I guess since Halloween's coming up, folks, get your tickets for Hobbs Grove. That's coming up. I noticed that they have their calendar up on online right now. No, I don't think they have any fun vacuum tube radios out there, but still fun to say at least. So. All right, on that, I think I'll hand it back to you, and thanks for letting me check this in. It's a fun radio, and everyone sounds great on it, and it's a great way to spend it Saturday evening. So, 73 from the Radio Lounge, SOE 47.
All right, glad you popped in. We've got you checked in and checked in on the Robin. Sounds like you survived our little earlier, I'd call it a downdraft. That's the, I guess, technical term, like an atmospheric river. Our little atmospheric downdraft. Antenna is still up and doing a good job on the Robin. If you're going to check in one radio, that's a good choice. So hope all is going well on the other end of things. I know it's busy yet again, but you're used to it by now, and who knows? We may still get our Morrow Rock check-in one of these weeks coming up before it is too late. Radio number 4, the Robin T123 Bravo, over. Jingle singers, are you ready? You're trying to get me out of here as well tonight, so...
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And you know, one thing I want to do, I mentioned it before, is bring up the audio from the link out there in Squamish, and put in the background here. It's late. We're not getting any Skipland tonight, but we're listening at 27085. See if Albert and the radio units are out there tonight. We'll keep the audio up here and see if we can't get a check-in from up north.
Hello, Dennis. If you copy me, 428 out there. I'd like to check in my TRC 458 on a stock microphone. Thanks for doing the program, sir. 73, so I'll pass it back to you.
All right, and there is Unit 428 on the TRC 458, which is a good radio. I always hear people saying that had some of the best unit-in chips or whatever chip was in that. Sounds good. Look at the straight line frequency and the good 6K plus 7K audio. So you've got that tuned up at a nice microphone and not over-modulated in the least. So thanks for joining us. 428 from Squamish, BC, where the frequency, like it is here in the Central Valley of California, is nice and quiet tonight. Now, I'll be back. I'm going to do a little counting and amounting. Oops, I lost frequency.
Let's talk to you there. We appreciate it. And you have a good night, sir. 73s. 428 will be on the side listening.
All right. All right, thank you. As usual, ended up changing frequency, but heard most of your transmission on that. So nice, good audio. I'm impressed with the audio on the 458. All right, I'm going to do some counting and mounting. We'll be back, and we will wrap this thing up. The Old Tube Radio Network, and batten down the hatches for sure. Back in a moment. Okay, and SWL 13 just checked. Mikey is there, saying he can't hear me very well tonight. He's a little bit farther out, and I am on a different setup. So sorry about that, Mike. The problem is certainly on my end, and hopefully we will have that remedied in a little bit. Back in just a moment. And I am definitely smelling the rain right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
Current and final totals on your Old Tube Radio Network Saturday. As always, thanks for joining us. We are in Central California awaiting the sidebar of Hurricane Hillary coming up unusually from Baja in Mexico and giving us a little weather in August that is quite unusual. And it has started this afternoon, this evening, and most of tomorrow. I think they're calling for maybe an inch of rain. That would certainly be a record set, no problems. On our list of lists tonight on shortwave listeners, we had a total of 14 on page 1, 15 on page 2, 12 on page 3, and 14 on page 4 for a total of 60. Radios, we got 4 tonight. That's pretty good considering the weather, and a lot of people have their coaxes and radios turned off and disconnected because of the lightning and the downdrafts that came through earlier. It seems kind of nice right now and pleasant. Most heard manufacturer tonight, General Radio Telephone from beautiful downtown Burbank, and the most heard unit from that manufacturer, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Thanks to our first radio from Cliff and our second radio from Chris, both on their General Radio Telephone Super MC11As, whether they had the cap, they had the help, or whatever channel was in that 24th socket. It worked good. They both had channel 11, and that's what counts. Harvey on the west side, of course, with the Browning Golden Eagle R68, T68, and we heard the Beagle in all sorts of various forms and various microphones on that equalizer. No, what was the name of that? I forgot already because it's a new one for me from Heathkit. The Microlizer HD 1986. A little bit of high and low frequency boost or gain, depending on what you want to do. Not sure what the circa would be on that when that came out, but obviously used for amateur radio, CB radio, and it could be used for anything. It could be used for, it might have been a PA system. You know, we're assuming for radio. I have a feeling that just because of the two frequencies and it's got the XLR pin microphonium, that might have been actually set up for some type of a PA system. Really wasn't made for radio, so it'll be interesting. Have to find out what those center frequencies are. And moments ago, our fourth radio, the Robin T123B from Mike, sounding good, and we don't quite have a recipe. Chrissy is our recipe department, so if she were she to be able to come up with a recipe for the Robin that only needs to simmer, something that just simmers at 135 degrees for about an hour and a half, would be apropos for our Old Tube Radio culinary delight. Good night, everybody. I am going to see if I can work out my issue. I don't know if it's cables or what, but I apologize to those local stations that were having a little bit of difficulty hearing me tonight. I'm going to go out and check the antenna and then ditch the raincoat for something a little bit more comfortable. And we're going to be battening down the hatches for the next 24 hours as the storm rolls through. It's our left coast version of a hurricane. We are certainly not, at least here, not going to need plywood for the windows or anything like that. We just maybe might need an umbrella and to be a little bit more cautious as we are driving down the roads. Good night, everybody, and thanks for listening on your Old Tube Radio Network.